Here we are, Wednesday, 5:30. Be there every week. We'll talk sports and talk Packers as much as possible during the offseason. And this week especially, plenty of chatter coming out of the NFL Scouting Combine, right?
Oh, you were there talking with Goody. Goody meets for, 40 minutes with the local media on the side. Then he obviously has all of his press corps stuff. Really the big thing that I think everybody's taken away, what was the one thing we haven't talked to Goody about since the last time we talked to Goody, which was only like 3 weeks ago? Rich Bisaccia was. I mean, that's
an interesting one.
It's the big news. The thing that I kind of took out of it, that was maybe from what I heard from you guys, was surprising, was that Rich made the decisions, and he didn't say that Rich doesn't have other options, pursuing other opportunities. At least that's the way I took it. I thought that was very interesting, and didn't sound like Rich is necessarily going to go hang out on the beach, but he might be hanging out on the beach.
Maybe retiring from the NFL. There aren't many jobs open in the NFL. Would he go to the UFL, be a head coach there, something in college? I can't wait to see what Rich's next steps are. Of course, he has been the scapegoat for a lot of special teams issues over the years. And I say scapegoat because he's a well-respected special teams coordinator for 2 decades. Every coordinator Green Bay's had at that position has struggled since Desmond Howard returned to kick in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yes, he had Daniel Whelan. Brandon McManus really great in the regular season. McManus has his worst days in the playoffs for the Packers. The return game non-existent. They're decent at covering kicks, but gosh, they need to be better next year. And I wonder what it'll take for this team to use even more resources towards, hey, maybe one guy's just a roster spot for a punt returner, and that's it. No pretense of corner or receiver, just returner.
The team that spent the most money on special teams, go figure, is the Seahawks. The Seahawks won the Super Bowl.
And they traded for Rashid Shaheed. How much of that trade do you think was for his return capabilities versus receiver? Because obviously he plays receiver too, and the Packers have tried that at times.
When you have Jackson Smith and I can never say Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah, just say JSN.
Yeah, when you have that guy, you have a lot of, I guess, leeway when it comes to wide receiver. You got Cooper Kupp also, so you could go out and get a guy that's just, maybe he's a good wide receiver, but he's a better return man, and that's his specialty. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe Matthew Golden could be that guy. Get the right coach in here, get him going on that.
His punt returns in Dallas left a lot to be desired.
Yeah, I mean, the whole unit last year kind of left a lot to be desired.
The last 2 decades.
I remember
besides Micah Hyde, he was pretty good.
I think, if I remember right, they were dead last in punt return yards last year. So
it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, that more than anything, I think, is where I think a lot of people look for them to get better, as especially in punt return. Not having Keyshawn return kicks definitely did not help the kickoff operation. So all of that, and then you look at, I thought it was interesting when Goody said maybe the glass half full when it comes to replacing Rich is that everybody else already got their guys, so you don't have the same kind of hurry to go hire somebody because
someone's gonna scoop
I like this guy.
Whoever you hire.
Yeah, and you look at some of the guys that they've, according to Rob Domofsky, they went out and interviewed. I had to dig up the list, the people they were talking to. Kyle Wilbur, I thought, was one that really stood out as kind of interesting. The fact that he's a Bisaccia guy. He played under Bisaccia. He was a quality control coach here in Green Bay for 2 years, and then got to be a assistant special teams coordinator, assistant special teams coach. I already promoted him last year with the Saints. Is that a guy that maybe you're going to give that shot to? He's very familiar with this place. Yeah. He's going to say a lot of things that are very familiar to guys when it comes to playing special teams. Maybe that's a guy that we look at. Devin Fitzsimmons, I believe Huber said, is getting that second interview. That's another guy who talked about the Seattle Seahawks special teams. That is the Seahawks assistant special teams coach. Maybe that's somebody that they go after. At this point, yes, the list of guys is not necessarily the stars that you have, so maybe you go after the up-and-coming coach.
Are there star names in special teams that the public would know? Probably not.
No.
I think it would, if it were like 5 years from now, or 10, or however long Alec Ingold plays, wouldn't that guy be a fun special teams coach around here?
I would love to have Alec as a special
Played
teams
under
coach.
Rich. Yeah, anyways, we've talked a lot about special teams. Let's talk about what's going to happen. Packers don't pick till 52nd in the draft, barring a big trade up. They're going to have to wait and think, we really like Micah. That was a really good move, because they're going to sit there and watch really good talent go off the draft board. But more pressing, less than 2 weeks from now, 12 days from now, the start of a new league year, the legal tampering period. Do you expect the Packers to make enough restructurings or cuts to chase any free agent of consequence?
I mean, they can free up. I always thought it was interesting. We go back just a couple weeks ago when Goody talked. He made it sound like we can do anything we want. Russ can be creative. And
is it worth it?
Is that bad news for somebody like Rashawn Gary, who has, I believe, the second biggest
cap
number?
Can't be good news for him.
Second biggest cap number on the team behind Jordan Love, and then a guy like Elton Jenkins is what, $20 million?
Save $20 million cutting Elton, $11 million saving Rashawn, $20 million if Rashawn's post June 1 cut.
Yeah, I mean it's. Those are the two guys, if you look at, probably the most likely. If they're going to make savings, it will be in those two spots.
Incredibly likely, I would say.
Maybe Goody has always kind of made it sound like that he was fine with what Rashawn gave them, 7.5
Yeah,
sacks.
you gotta say that
nothing,
until you
Yes.
don't, right?
And-
but I expected him to be less enthusiastic than he was. He said it's hard to replace 60 pressures, which is what Rashawn had. He had 7.5 sacks, and then didn't have one the last 10 games. It is hard to replace pressures, and the Packers room isn't stocked with guys that would give you confidence they could do it right away. You got Barron Sorrell, Colin Oliver off their rookie years, but you going to count on them to get that many pressures? Probably not. But I don't. Gosh, $11 million saving on a guy who has
the one thing
perpetually underachieved.
Yeah, and
makes
the one
sense.
thing we don't really know yet is how he fits into Jonathan Gannon's scheme. We
Right.
saw what he did with Jeff Hafley, and
Yeah.
how much does Jonathan Gannon play into that with Rashawn Gary? Here's how I'm going to use him.
Right.
Does Gannon go
Gannon's
from more
played
of a,
3-4 and 4-3.
Yeah.
I mean, Rashawn's played 3-4, then 4-3 with Hafley. Gannon probably goes back to more 3-4. As Goody said yesterday, let's be real, it's a 4-2-5.
Yeah.
You know, nickel is the defense du jour in the NFL, on passing downs especially, and that's what really matters. Base, we'll see, will the defender have his hand down or hand up? We'll see as well. Aaron Banks sure sounds like he'll be back. I wouldn't expect anything different. They didn't get a lot out of the big price free agents last year. Nate Hobbs and Aaron Banks. But I don't think that either's off the team this year. We'll see. I think they just need to get better production, because whatever you do, whatever money you save for them is not enough to replace them with anyone probably any better.
everything that we talk about, the offensive line is the biggest question mark for this team. We have Rasheed Walker hitting free agency, so you're going to have a change at left tackle. Likely Jordan Morgan, really, if we have to think about it, but it will be somebody different playing left tackle.
And Goody said he
regardless.
wants Jordan Morgan to be the left tackle all
Yeah.
throughout the offseason. Yes, they like to cross-train, but gosh, it would be good for the guy to just focus at left tackle. And he thought coming out of camp last year that he was in really good standing to maybe have that left tackle job. They gave it to Rasheed Walker, who's locked it down for like every game for 4 years. But that said, he said even if Rasheed Walker were under contract coming back, he thinks Morgan would definitely push for that job this year. That's kind of big praise for the guy. I think other interesting things. If you trade up, gosh, you cost yourself and you don't have a whole lot of draft capital. You'd probably have to give up a lot of players as well as draft picks. If you want to spend money in free agency, when Malik Willis and Rasheed Walker are going to maybe get you third-round comp picks next year, is that the smartest thing? I'd take those third-round comp picks, sign some street free agents. I would not mortgage the future to restructure all these guys and sign a big-name, big-price free agent to undercut yourself in the comp picks. I think those could be valuable. The big money for Parsons and Love and the cap hits are coming down the road. Having some extra draft picks through comp picks could be very, very valuable.
One guy I always think is interesting, maybe I don't think we talk about enough, is Christian Watson. How much did Christian Watson help himself?
Yeah, he's going to get paid more.
He's going to get paid
He
more.
has to wait 12 calendar months to do
Yeah.
another extension, I believe,
Yeah.
which was early in the season when he did last year.
So is that something you got to have that conversation, because he's going to get paid? How much do you want to let him play on that deal? You got that
How much does he
time.
want to play on that deal?
Yeah, I mean he bet on himself by signing that 1-year deal that was
Okay.
really, and then he went out and delivered. So
I want to ask you, first extension in this list, who's going to get money first? Devontae Wyatt, Tucker Kraft?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
I would guess Devontae, just because you free up some cap space. He's scheduled to play in a fifth-year option. You do it right now, you could save some cap space, maybe sign someone or another.
that is the
And
logical,
Tucker's probably
rational
not
thought.
going to take the offer they're dangling right
No.
now. I bet he's going to wait. I'll wait till I return, play 3 games, and then get the biggest tight end deal ever.
Yeah.
That would be my. If I were him, I might want to do that.
When you asked me that, I was like, who's more valuable? Because
Tucker,
but I say all the time, losing Devontae Wyatt is massive to that
Tucker,
defense. And I
yeah,
think it
everyone
gets
talks
actually
about Parsons
underrated.
and Tucker. Yeah.
Yeah, we talk so much about Parsons and Tucker. Sometimes we forget about how different that defense was with Devontae Wyatt out there. Massively different.
Massively different.
Yes, massive.
I think the last 2 Super Bowls, at least, have taught us that defensive tackle play. Last 4, I mean, the Chiefs, and Mr. Jones. And then, of course, inside you had Milton Williams. You had all the stuff the Eagles were able to do. Then the Seahawks with all their pressures. It wasn't just one guy on the edge doing it for them. Gosh, if you get push up the middle, it can do a lot of things in the playoffs. What else do you want to talk about? Because there was a lot yesterday.
I'm still processing it all. I mean,
Of course, yeah.
the Banks thing I think is interesting, and I mean,
You're not saving enough money to make it worth it.
Oh, yeah. I just always go back. The game is won in the trenches. When we mentioned about Devontae Wyatt and the importance of what goes on with that offensive line. Sean Ryan's another guy hits you up. Who's your center next year? I think that because if you move
If
on
you're
from Elgin
chasing a
Jenkins,
free agent, who would you chase? Linderbaum, the center from the Ravens. Like, if you're gonna mess with the compensatory picks, I would only do it for Linderbaum, as I see right now.
Yeah.
Street free agents are different. If a guy gets cut elsewhere, you can sign him. It does not affect the calculus for comp picks. That could be the way Goody goes this year. In terms of prospects in the combine, ostensibly this event is all about looking at guys entering the draft, but it's really about talking to agents, getting ready for the new league year, getting a sense of the landscape as a whole. But for prospects, Goody has told us he's met with consensus top 20 overall picks already down at the combine. Why? Because it's not just about the picks you have now. It's when these guys get past their rookie contracts and become free agents. Do you want to sign this guy? Do you want to know everything about the guy? The ins, the outs, the personality, the traits, the medical. Get that done now, so when they suddenly become available, you know a lot, and you can make those informed decisions down the road. And you never know what would happen with trades, both before this draft or during that player's rookie contract or anything like that. So he's doing his homework as normal, even though he's going to wait and 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 wait to pick at 52nd overall.
It's going to be different waiting that long in the draft. It's not quite when Ted traded out, but it kind of feels like when Ted traded out.
No. This was procuring a Hall of Fame trajectory player, and that was passing on several-time Defensive Player of the Year T.J. Watt to get cute and pick injury-prone Kevin King. God bless his heart.
But I mean, anybody at home that's asked, was it worth it to pick Micah Parsons? Every GM in the league would make that trade.
Yes.
It's in the same situation.
But
make
with
that same
the
trade.
Injury, you never know what a player will perform like. Look at Rashawn Gary. Everyone saw his career ascending. He tore his ACL. He had gotten paid. He has not had a double-digit sack season, went 10 games without a sack. I don't think anyone 4 years ago would have predicted the decline of Rashawn Gary and his lack of impact in money moments. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Micah. Nick Bosa tore an ACL. He was younger, came back the next year, had 12 sacks.
Yeah.
Then again, Von Miller at age 30+, which Micah is not, had 0 sacks the next year after his torn ACL. So something in the middle is what you expect when Parsons returned. But I think his work ethic, his motivation, and his motor are really going to make it something that doesn't hold him back from continuing a Hall of Fame trajectory. I think we got to get you onto the Phoenix women's basketball home finale now, and I got to get ready for the 6 o'clock news. Thanks for tuning in. If you have questions, as always, try to shoot them at us on our Facebook and YouTube streams. Thanks.